Well, this is a pretty exciting day for me. This is my first attempt at ever doing some sort of video social media connection. And my name is Mike Engel. I work for the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, and I'm lucky enough to get to partner with Dane County Parks on helping them to manage and restore their lands for wildlife, and of course for you to be able to enjoy. I'm joining you from my home with some of my bird friends here. Got some peeps since we're at that time of year. And I just want to share a few things with you. One, I have a little game that will hopefully be fun and allow you to entertain yourselves in these unusual times. And I want to provide you a little information about what we do for birds in Dane County. And just let you know a little bit about who I am. So I work for the Fish and Wildlife Service, and I get to help people restore habitat for birds, even birds like this one. I got to this place in life by going to school at UW Green Bay, and the first class I ever had about birds was called Field Ornithology. And I grew up not too far from here. I thought I knew a little bit about birds. I mean, I knew sparrows, robins, blue jays, duck, maybe a couple other ones. But man, when I got in that class, I learned that there were lots of birds and lots of names for birds and lots of other fancy words to describe them. And the highlight of that class, which kind of hooked me into keeping an interest in them, was a 10-day trip to the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, northern Wisconsin, and a little bit of Ontario to see birds. And I was fascinated that there were so many different kinds of birds, and by going to different habitats, we would see different birds. We'd go to the water, we'd go to wetlands, we'd go to woodlands, we'd go to open areas, and it was just very exciting. And that's kind of what we do at Dane County Parks, is we sometimes acquire property, and then we have to think about it with our partners and our stakeholders. What could this property do to benefit different types of wildlife? And maybe that means that we'll plant a prairie, or maybe we'll plant some grasses that will help birds and other insects, or maybe we'll plant trees, or maybe we'll remove some invasive brush or weeds to make the area better for birds and for your enjoyment as well. Now, sometimes that's going to mean that the site actually looks worse for a little while. You might see some dead plants or dead trees, or you might actually see bulldozers or excavators out doing work so that we can create some good wetland habitat. So a little bit about bird names. They can help us remember what a bird looks like. They can also be kind of silly, and that's where our game comes in. All right, so it's not cold where I am. I'm just dressed up for our game. So birds can have clever names that can help us remember what they are. So things like a chestnut-sided warbler might help us know that on its side it has chestnut colored. A scarlet tanager, as you might guess, is bright red. So for our game, I would like you to come up with a good name for what my bird name could be. My college friends like to do this. They would either come up with silly names for the birds we were trying to study, or sometimes they would come up with bird names for classmates, just to break the stress of studying for tests and exams. So my name might have something to do with my brown cap, my orange throat, or my red body. And I'm curious to see what kind of name you could come up with. Perhaps you could extend this game to when you're out going for a walk, seeing people pass by you at a safe 6-foot distance. What kind of name would the jogger who goes by you, or the fellow bird watcher who walks by you, what kind of name could you come up with for them? And then if you are seeing birds out on a walk or through your window at your bird feeder, if you don't know what the real bird name is, what kind of clever name could you come up with? You know, a lot of us might know what an American robin looks like, but it could be the brown-backed, orange-breasted worm grabber. So think about that and try to have some fun with it. Now, if different birds have different names, they also have different characteristics. So you don't need to necessarily think about fancy names or memory aids for members of your own family or people who live near you, because you get a visual picture in your head that goes with their name. And that's kind of what we want to do with helping you identify birds, is you notice things about them. You notice, do they have a big long beak or is it short? Are they floating in the water, or are they digging in the grass on the ground, or are they perched on the branch of an apple tree in your yard? Are they bigger than a baseball, or are they the size of a bread box? All those sorts of things will help you identify them, including color, size, and characteristics. Where can you enjoy birds? That's another great thing about birds, is you can enjoy them just about anywhere. I have 2 bird feeders at my house. They're sitting right outside what is now my home office, and so while I'm doing my work, it's a nice little distraction for me to look at who's visiting my feeders. Soon I'll be putting out my hummingbird feeder, so I can hopefully attract some of them. Other places are, of course, parks and open areas near you. We're trying to discourage too much travel during this time, but hopefully you have a Dane County Park or other parks near you that you can safely enjoy. And when you're there, just take a look around. Look on the ground, look in the trees, and see what you can observe in terms of birds and other things to bring some good thoughts to your day. Some Dane County parks that can be quite nice are Babcock, which is just outside of McFarland. And there you don't even have to get out of your car. You can just pull up and you're more than likely to see some waterfowl out on the water. Other examples of that are Silverwood County Park down by Edgerton. A lot of the Madison Lakes you can observe birds from. Walking Iron Wildlife area. Pheasant Branch Conservancy has a number of trails that you can safely walk on, as does Token Creek Park and the Lake Farm County property. Lots of parks. The Dane County parks are seeing high use right now, which is great. Folks need an escape from the challenges of the COVID-19 pandemic, and Dane County Parks is happy to be able to provide that for you. We just encourage you to use the parks in a safe way, respectful of other people, and to be sure you're taking care of the parks as well. Thank you for your time. I hope this has been enjoyable for you, and that you will tune in for future episodes to learn more about Dane County Parks.